All right, thank you very much. Back inside Wrigley Field as we get you set for Game 4 of the World Series. Lou Canellis, Bob Dernier, Chip Caray, and a guy who's familiar to Cubs fans out there. You brought many a Cub fans great memories, 7.5+ seasons with this organization. Rick Sutcliffe, and here, let me share a story with you, because I read where you said the day before your first start in 1984, your wife came to Wrigley Field to a Cubs game. And with that in mind, Rick, last night, forget about the game. I'm talking about the pomp and circumstance. First World Series, 71 years in this ballpark. Did you let it all soak in?
I don't know that it really has, because as Bobby knows, we felt like, even though we had a lot of fun, this place was packed throughout 1984, we don't feel like we accomplished what we set out to do. And I know, being around this organization the last 5 years, I know they feel the same way. Yes, I think a lot of these fans who it's been so long since they've been able to come to a World Series game, I think I think they look at it as kind of a huge sense of accomplishment. But when they think about it seriously, no, there's still a long ways to go.
Hey, I got one. Okay.
Let me just add this. I had some success here, but I had a lot of help as well. So now go ahead.
Well, and vice versa. It was hard to see the hitter standing behind him. I can tell you that. In center field, you had to move one way or the other. Well, pretty large guy.
We're all blessed in different ways. I got a bigger melon than most people do.
That's
but
right.
I also got you a Gold Glove.
He did a lot of work,
There's a key to knowing just how far Chip, an outfielder, can go. And I haven't played with him in high school. I knew exactly.
You always said Bobby's limitations were limitless.
I saw the number on his back a lot more than I saw anything on the front.
Well, you got to remember, I faced him in high school as well. So
yeah, how'd that go?
Yeah, not well.
At least he's honest, right?
You're the reason I was the #1 pick with the Dodgers, and I'm probably the reason you went to a junior college.
That's a fact. Yeah, no scholarship offers whatsoever. But I'm curious, because tonight in Kluber, and of course tomorrow night we've got Lester going again. But tonight, Lackey, a veteran, and being that ace, I'm just curious on the 3 days rest. And I don't remember you going on 3 days rest a lot, but talk about that a little bit.
Well, back when my first career began with the Dodgers, it was honestly the norm. Where that fifth day came in, I think that had a lot to do with guys knowing if they didn't start 42 games a year and they started 34, you could add a couple of years to the end of their careers when they were making more money. It was a selfish thing. I think, thinking about the game tonight, and everybody's asked what's the key has got to be John Lackey. When you're going up against an ace, when you're going up against Corey Kluber, you better expect them to pitch well, because the majority of the time they're going to do that. So to me, the key is going to be John Lester in those first 3 or 4 innings to be able to throw some zeros up, so maybe Joe Madden can put the game in motion.
And that's a good point. The team that scored the first run since the start of the LCS and ALCS has won the last 14 games.
Really?
14-0. So the first run is critically important. So from an offensive standpoint and from a pitching standpoint, how do you prevent that first run, and how do you get that first run if you're the Cubs, who've been shut out 4 times in the last 8 games they've played?
I think the huge thing is the top of the first inning. I mean, set the tone out there. And the one good thing about it is that John Lackey has done it before. He's done it for a long, long time at the big league level, and he's done it at the World Series.
You played for both teams. You played for the Indians, and then the Indians traded you here to Chicago.
Thank God, Lou.
Yeah, thank God for all of us. Hey, listen, he was as big a reason as that 84's team's success as anyone. Rick, I know that you've said that you don't cheer for one team more than the other, but you cheer for both clubhouses. You like the guys on both teams. Yeah. And especially this Cubs team, because you work with this team. I've seen you at spring training.
There's a lot of really good human beings in here. There's a lot of people that are extremely involved in the community, and I think that's a big reason that this team has just been embraced by the community here and really all around the United States. The same thing, honestly, is true over there. I played with Terry Francona right here. One thing that, with my job with ESPN, I mean, deep down, you know that I bleed Cubby blue. I mean, there's no question about that. But for me to keep my job with ESPN, I mean, there has to be, you've got to draw the line. the one thing that you know when you hear us broadcast, you know which players I like. Okay, I like the guys that respect the game. I like the guys that are quote-unquote great teammates. It's pretty obvious who those guys are if you ever listen to me. If you don't respect the game, I can be your worst enemy as far as broadcasting is concerned. But I've said these are two of the better teams as far as the clubhouse is concerned. I'll go on record saying these are the best two teams that I've been around all year long.
Well, hopefully it'll be a Cub win tonight. Take us through a mindset of a pitcher walking to the mound, full house at Wrigley Field, hugely important playoff game, and you've got the ball. What is that sensation like?
I think it's a sense of relief.
Really?
Because there's a lot of stuff that goes on leading up to a game like this. When you've got everybody in the world asking for tickets. I'll never forget, I always thought the toughest ticket that I would ever be involved in was 8/8/88. We all remember that's when they turned on the lights. That was supposed to be the first official night game. We know it got rained out.
I was here with Philly. I was in the other dugout.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't think I'd ever have a tougher time getting a ticket than that night. I was wrong. Last night was the toughest ticket. This one's even worse, and I hate to answer my phone to see what's waiting on me for tomorrow.
I know that you've picked the Cubs in 7, and you said that Corey Kluber would be the key to this series. Do you still feel the same?
Yeah, I think your backs are against the wall tonight. I mean, if I'm not a betting man, the last thing in the world that I could do is bet on baseball and have any success. I think that's the reason that we all love the game so much. None of us know really what's going to happen tonight, but you've got to expect him to go out there and pitch well. You expected Kyle Hendricks to do the same thing last night, but if you don't play great defense, if you don't put some runs up on the board, all you control as a pitcher is your effort. You don't control the outcome, and that's what we're looking at tonight. I mean, I think it's going to be another close ball game. I think they're going to be close the rest of the way.
You know, Seth, there's no Nostradamus in baseball. I agree with that. And thinking back, in that '84 series, we had Eric Shaw out there.
What is Nostradamus? What was?
Oh, he tried to predict stuff.
Okay,
so anyway,
okay. Yeah.
So Shaw's out there, and you're starting for us, and that's ace on ace, right?
Yeah.
That's the way it unfolded. But we kind of rattled him early and often, and you were one of them. I remember standing on deck and watching one fly somewhere out there on the Sheffield, Lou. He got most of it. What's your memory of that swing?
I think my memory, Bobby, as I look back, I've actually went back and saw the replay a few years ago, and Don Drysdale and Reggie Jackson were describing. Don Drysdale was a second father to me, and I never really got to know Earl, but Reggie Jackson goes, that ball went completely out of the stadium.
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
And I mean, I didn't know where it landed. I mean, I tucked my head and was running. I knew it was gone, but I also knew that I really didn't need to do that because you guys had provided plenty of a lead up to that point.
Well, maybe so, but his trot too, I can tell you, Chip. I haven't seen your home run trot, but I'll bet you can't get around any slower than he did on that bomb.
It was not a trot, guys. I'm telling you, that's all I got.
I was on deck forever.
Pedal to the metal. That was the limit, huh?
There's nothing more in the tank there. That's it, man.
Well, it worked. That's all that matters.
Rick, thanks so much for stopping by and joining us.
This is a pleasure, guys. This is a pleasure. Hope we can do it again after Game 7.
Great to have you. Former Cub Rick Sutcliffe joining us on Blue October here on Fox 32 Chicago. More coming up with Chip,
Love you, brother.
Bobby, and yours truly here on Fox.
Nice.
Thanks, Rick. Appreciate it, buddy. Enjoy the game.
That's just fun.
So fun, man. Thanks,